What's up, all my beautiful people? I'm so happy to be here today. Today is the day. Today is the day. It's voting day, but not only is it voting day, it's catching up day. I get to catch up with somebody that's really close to me, close to heart, close to my life, and we go back to the SWAT. And if y'all don't know what that is, then we're gonna talk about it later. But we go back SWAT. We like SWAT team out here, son. So like we was taking down people, busting in people's houses. I'm just playing. We wasn't doing all that, but but yeah, man, Skii Ventura is on the scene. But first and foremost, let's give it up for DJ Davi real quick. DJ Davi kills it once again, and DJ MG, my little sister-in-law, she came on the scene and busted down. So I appreciate that as well. Thank you, MG. You're a great DJ. You have a bright future ahead of you, young lady. Okay, DJ Davi, keep spinning on the ones and twos. I appreciate you, brother. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the moment you've all been waiting for. This artist that you had the opportunity to listen to right before the podcast had started, you had the opportunity to listen to him. But let's bring on Mr. Skii Ventura. Oh, no, your audio. I can't hear you. Hold on, your audio.
Boom, look at God. Look how
Boom, let's do it again. I was like, no.
Man. Oh, man, what's happening? How y'all doing?
Oh, man, what's up, man? I was like, please, please don't let us have to restart this today.
That will be all in the mix, man. He be all in the mix, man.
All in the mix.
Man, I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. It's been like since 2006, I think, since the last time I seen him. 2006, 2005, maybe. Man. I don't know.
It's been
been a long time.
Yeah, this family right here.
Yeah, man. And a lot of people, like they don't understand, like, when you're connected, your family, and you go out there's family out there grinding while you're grinding. And it's beautiful when you're able to come back together and to share the same platform. And I'm glad we get to do this today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. This is good.
Yeah, man. So for those of y'all who don't know, his government legal is Brandon. I'm gonna call him Brandon real quick, but Skii Ventura is his stage name. I ain't trying to get hit out here with no verses, but
no, you all right.
But no, man. But Brandon, man, I remember when we were younger, and you and Dontrell and Jordan and Jeremy, and like we had the whole squad set up, right? And
everybody was with
Kaylin was in there. Chris was in there.
Kaylin Mason, yeah.
Yeah, so like we used to rap back in the day at Brownsville Community Church of God. We back in Summerville. Yeah. But Brandon, you had the skills, like you and Dontrell, everybody was good, but like I knew that like if you guys took it seriously, that you would do great things, and there you are. I see you shine.
Oh man.
I try to use your
I appreciate it.
But yeah, man, so it's a blessing to see you in your purpose. So I just wanted to say that right now,
Man, it's a blessing, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So now, you're here, and you're not just a single teenage kid anymore. You're a whole dad and a whole husband, man. A whole artist, a whole minister, a whole mentor. Like you've taken on so many hats since the last time I've seen you, and no pun intended, because you got a hat on right now. But
see what you did there.
But yeah, you've taken on so many hats, man, and over the years, I wanted to ask you the main question I have to ask you, dealing with purpose, before we get into it, is how did you stay on track with your purpose?
Man, if I can be honest with you, man, I think for me, I found an early sense of bridge between what I was experiencing and music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I found early on that, I think we're so connected as people to music, right? And I found that it was a way for me to be able to express my emotions and what I was feeling and my perspective and perception. So essentially, life was tied to music for me. So for me, it was more or less of being able to express, hoping that what I have to share can impact somebody else and help somebody else, really. For me, first, it was first my release. It was my release first, but I recognized that it helped others. So I think that's when it started. That's when purpose really got tied into it. When I recognized that I could help people through my music, it became more like medicine, and I felt obligated to get a medicine.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. You're like a doctor
It's
delivering
something,
verses.
man. We delivering healing, dealing
Right.
hope. Okay,
Dealing hope
dealing
dealers.
hope, man.
Facts. That's facts, man. And you do a great job at it. You know, you do a great job at it, inspiring people and, relaying your message, and you make it dope. Like you were making like Christian hip hop dope before I knew about like Lecrae and all these other dudes. Like before all these other guys started popping off. Like I'm not trying to shade nobody out here, but I was just saying, like, I seen my boy back in the day before people
Oh
were actually
man,
rapping out of churches, like, and now these guys are out here, and it's almost like we saw the wave and we was about to jump on the wave, and then
yeah.
like, religion happened. I suppose, a lot of people didn't understand what we were doing because they thought it was too secular. What do you feel about that? Like, have you ever been faced with that? Like, oh, you're a rapper and you're a believer and that's
Oh
too
yeah, man.
secular.
Well,
You
first
have?
of all, before I jump into that, I want to say, man, it is good to see that you are in your purpose, man. I
Oh,
want to say
thank you.
thank you for having me on the show first and foremost,
Yeah.
because I think that this is a great platform to be able to share a plethora of experience and thoughts that we can create
Facts.
something that's a universal idea, thoughts that we can share and agree on. So thank you for having me on
Thank
here.
you. I
Um,
appreciate
and
that.
yeah, absolutely, man. Like, you got to consider, man. Like, I think church folks are the most
Mm-hmm.
critical people on the planet, right?
Facts. Mm-hmm.
So for me, I grew up in a culture. I grew up in the streets. I grew up in a culture. Like, I came from Summerville, South Carolina,
Right.
small town, but still had its issues. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
troubles everywhere, right? But
Mm-hmm.
experiences everywhere. And I think that we came up in a space and place, especially at our church, growing up, where it was the older crowd, the older generation. And so we were kind
Yeah.
of on the cusp of something new early on when
Mm-hmm.
I guess gospel rap was like just becoming like somewhat of a thing, you know what I'm saying, with cross
Right.
movements and all of that stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
we grew up on.
Yep.
And it was something that I guess it was like the first time that a church ever saw a woman with pants on. It was like, yo, what is this? It was, what
Right.
is this? Like, this is a
Mm-hmm.
place of sanctuary. This is a place of refuge. But I think as the younger generation, we saw that there was refuge and being able to express God through what was familiar. And
Right.
that was rap. That was hip hop. That's what we were living in, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think our cultures just kind of got intertwined, and people just kind of didn't take to it well. To this day, I'm a grown man and who has a whole understanding of God and life and relationship. And to
Yeah.
this day, you still find people who don't accept the art form for what it is. But one of the things that I shared with you in another discussion, and I believe this is very true, I believe that music is just a tool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
music
That's a
itself is
fact.
neither good nor bad. Music is a tool, and I
Right.
believe it's what we put on it that makes the
Mm-hmm.
difference. It's the spirit behind it. I'm a firm
Yeah.
believer that every word has a spirit. You know, and so
That's a
I
fact.
believe it's
I
what
like
we
that.
put on it.
Yeah.
And so I deal hope, I deal God, I deal experience and navigation, because that's what I'm doing. I'm
Mm.
talking to me first. And so when
Yeah.
I became okay with that idea, it made purpose and it made the journey that much more beautiful, because for me, it was way more than, it was deep in rap. It was deep
Mm.
in rap. And yeah, you
Yeah.
may hear like the clever, you may hear the entertaining, but there's a whole lot of hope, but there's a whole lot of perspective. There's a whole lot of spirituality and
Yeah.
navigation, self-exploration, navigation with God that go into the music. So
Yeah.
absolutely, it's a very sticky thing. So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
feel like um, that the style that we talking about, that it's definitely created its own thing, where it's,
Yeah.
it's neither gospel nor secular. It is. It's spiritual
Mm.
for
It
sure.
is. Yeah.
um, but it's a whole lot of experience that go into that you're not talking about on the pulpit, or
Right.
whatever. But I feel like that's the importance of using the vehicle.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
and I love what you said, man, because it's a powerful vehicle, and
absolutely.
every word has a spirit behind it is the most powerful statement I've heard. But and it's so real though, because the word, there's power of life and death in the tongue,
And the tongue, that's right.
so you know, and that power comes from the spirit that breathed life into everyone, you know, and he gave us that power to speak things, you know, into existence. And it first starts in the spirit, and people don't understand that with music being so spiritual, there's a lot of information being put out there, and there's a lot of spirits being put out. You know, I'm not trying to be over spiritual, but there's a lot of spirits from words being put out that are causing, you know, the youth and people to behave a certain way. And we can see it. You can see the spirit of whatever artist inside of the people that listen to them, you know, because you will see it on their face. Maybe you will see it on their style. You will see it on how they talk, how they walk, you know, they're, you know, children idol people. So how do you as an artist present yourself to, you know, to the youth and to, you know, older people? How do you present yourself?
Man, you know, I guess the best way I can explain this, man, like I say, I speak to me first. Like I allow God to speak to me first, and I allow myself to navigate with me first. And so beyond trying to be trendy, I want to give something that I want to listen to. You know, I want something that my kids can listen to and get something from, especially, you know, when I'm dead and gone, like it can live on. It's not just for the moment with the, you know, Air Force Ones or whenever that fade out or whatever. You know what I mean? I wanted something that will go beyond time, that will be timeless. And so I do believe that there's a spirit that comes with every word. So like influence is big. And I think that one of the things that when you talk in analytics and all that kind of stuff, man, like there's a whole system behind the messages that go out. It's what like a lot of people don't recognize. And there is a formula for words that are more trendy than other words. And so like there's a whole system behind music that go along with sales and all that kind of stuff like that. And true enough, you hear it. You hear the copycats. Everybody got the same message. But true enough, one of the things I share is I think that the whole idea of my desires and my fantasy is more appealing than what I'm experiencing in my everyday life. So when I want to be rich, when I want to have the money because I'm low, when I'm angry or I'm frustrated, I put on my joint that tell me like, I dare you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I get to connect. That's what I mean by life is so connected through music. It's because a lot of times we gravitate to music that tugs on the heartstrings, things we already feel and things we already kind of embellish in our minds that play a part into our waking life, you know? And even if I'm not the hustler, even if I'm not the rich dude, you know what I'm saying? Like I want the gold, I want the money, I want the cars. I like a Ferrari. I like a Ferrari, you know what I mean?
I like a Ferrari too.
Rolls Royce, you know? And you know, guys like women like guys, and all this other stuff that go into the music. And what it does is I think it definitely does play on the things that move us. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, it's so important, man. I definitely believe that music does influence people. And that's why we got to be even more delicate, I think, you know, when you have a platform and you feel some kind of sense of obligation to it. To be intentional, you know. And now you're talking like music is geared for the young generation. It's always geared to the younger generation. And so you got to understand like that's what it is. And so you got to understand you're talking about a group of people who are looking for direction and looking for salvation and life through different avenues, you know, looking for some sense of belonging, some sense of identity. And that's usually the biggest thing. It's identity. Whether you believe it or not, I think just my opinion, I think more than 85% of the world is looking for identity. You know, everybody's looking for a sense of identity. Yeah. And so when you're talking about that, even as an adult, I don't care if you're 50, you got 50-year-olds looking for who I am here now, or, you know, who am I? You know, I think that's what music plays on. And so it's an inspiration. So for sure.
Yeah. I like that, you know, and I hope people listening to this right now starts to think like, oh man, what am I listening to? And not just what are you listening to? Because like, you know, it's what, you know, a lot of people don't realize what we allow into our conscious, you know, in our mind. And like, we don't realize like, oh man, you know, I listened to a bunch of negative stuff today. And this is why this negative thing is on my mind, you know, all day today.
It'll manifest.
Yeah, it's so true. And I try to like cast down those thoughts, you know, and like try to, you know, keep positivity in. And like, I like my crunk music. I like my get on my whatever, you know, like I like getting up there, but I feel like I've never allowed it to make me it or make me, the image that this story is telling, because a lot of people are just telling stories through their music, not telling you to go do what they just did, but people do it anyway.
Right.
So,
but I think it
what
goes back into
advice?
that social acceptance, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think it goes into
No,
that
you're good. Go
social
ahead.
acceptance and wanting to belong. It's that sense of belonging again, like I said, and the influence. If I listen to WAP all day, WAP all day, you know what I'm gonna be thinking about?
Right.
I'm gonna be thinking about some ladies and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I truly believe like that's what it is. It's the rhythmic patterns that we allow to kind of draw us in based on what we already kind of are invested in.
You're right. And you said what we're already invested in. It's like, it's just
we already
pulling,
got
like you said,
a
it's
toe in.
the strings of your heart, right? It's already
Right.
there. The strings aren't invisible. It knows what to connect with because you're pulling to it. And a lot of people don't realize that when they go through darkness, let's say depression or anxiety, and maybe they're just missing their ex too much and they're going crazy thinking about him, and all they're playing is Casey and JoJo. I'm going crazy.
You're gonna be going crazy. You got to be going crazy, okay?
Right. But yeah, man, I wanted to, my question was with parents, like, how do they introduce their children to the culture of hip hop the right way? Is there a right way to introduce your children to hip hop?
Man, I don't know if there's a right way. I'm a firm believer, man, that you got to let your convictions lead you. Like we guard our children. Like, we know, me and my wife, we both know that we're the first gate. In order to get to my kids, you got to get through me. You know what I mean? So we're sensitive to what we let our kids watch and listen to, because true enough, like, I mean, watching TV, PG-14 ain't the same no more. No, I mean, Mike, I was like, nah, I can't be. But no, real life, like, just the idea that we got to protect our children and still be able to not make them oblivious to what's around them, and that's a big issue. That's a big deal for me, is to make sure they're not oblivious, but also to safeguard their hearts. So even if it is some hip hop, because I'm a rapper, like, I can't guard you from hip hop, but what I do is I try to find, an alternative method, whether it's the clean version. My kids, they know that we notorious for some kids bop around here. You know what I'm saying? But I want them to stay, and I want them to be attached to, what's happening culturally around us, so that they don't get left behind or lost or deceived in the processes of, growth, with everything that's around them. So my kids are well-rounded too. So I make sure that I don't just introduce them to one thing, because I wasn't just introduced to one thing. I introduced them to a plethora of music, so you can find what you like. But when it comes to the genre of hip hop, man, I think that there is no safe way. I guess you got to use your judgment and figure out, like, what would I want my kids to listen to? And true enough, I create music in a way where, yeah, it may be edgy, it may be along some lines, but like, at the end of the day, it's real stuff that's happening. It's definitely perspective driven, hope driven, because there's a lot going on around us that we really don't get a chance to hear in the music, or we don't really get to have conversations about, because especially in the Black community, we don't have enough conversations. And
it's true.
I think that I get the opportunity to I get to create dialogue about topics and things that we don't necessarily just bring up, whether in church or whether just in a social setting. So I create my music for my kids too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely.
That's dope. And congratulations. I didn't get to tell you when you had your kids. Congratulations,
man. Thank you.
Congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you so much. all of that,
the whole thing, like, just everything, just congratulations. Everything. I'm gonna send you. I should have sent you like one whole card just with the word congratulations on it. That's all.
It.
Congratulations.
I would have put on my wall back here.
Man, so I was in my mind, I was trying to figure out, like, man, I got so many roads to go with you. Like, I could go back and then I could be like, all right, let's go here. But I wanted to make sure that I took the time to talk about those things, because there are people right now who don't know what to do with their kids. There are people right now who grew up in the church and they're battling with, man, I'm supposed to be listening to this. I can't listen to this. And people can torment you to the point where you feel like a bad person because you do listen to that stuff. And like I don't want to go into that too much more, but
Yeah.
what I want to say now is you talked about introducing your children to like topics that are happening right now. You don't want them to be oblivious to what's happening around them. How are you handling things with, the unjust killings of African American men and women by police officers? How are you introducing that to them?
It's so crazy, man. Like I've heard countless discussions, man, and I feel like really there is no method to the madness. Like I remember growing up, my mom didn't really hold back many punches. You know what I'm saying? Like she kept it 100, was like straight up, like But I kind of take that with me. My wife is a little more reserved sometimes in these hard conversations that we're experiencing now. But my son is black, my daughter, she's Hispanic and black, and so but 6 and 12. Shout out to Riri and Tuga. Shout out to Cole. You see who I am, you know what I'm saying? No, but
I'm in the house.
No, I really right upstairs, right? But no, I really wanted to sit down with them, and that's what we did. Me and Cole, we sat down with them and we had a conversation what was going on, because true enough, what we started to recognize is they were regurgitating some of the ideals they heard about President Trump or about police officers. And true enough, like, just to be honest with you, I have people who I have relationships with who may be police officers, who are police officers, or who are officials, state officials, and things like that. And true enough, I kind of have insight on this stuff, and that they don't have necessarily. And so with the kids, they're so limited. So we had a conversation about what's going on, and straight up, like, there are some officers who are out here who, whether white for sure, but there are black officers who don't necessarily care about some of the issues that we're facing and the brutalities that go into the power that they have, the abuse of it. And just sharing that, because it became a one-sided narrative for them that all officers are bad. And I didn't want them to walk with that narrative. I grew up afraid and paranoid of police. You know what I'm saying? Until I saw a good one. So I was in the Boys and Girls Club in the hood, and he come to talk to us and keep it 100 with us and talk to us about what's going on, and really come to our level and meet us, where we didn't have to look at him like, oh snap, there go the law, and really see a human. I saw a human that day, and I saw somebody who looked like me, who was in a different uniform, and so it changed my perspective in those moments. Even though still, if I see a cop ride around, I'm gonna still be paranoid.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? No, real life, like I'm in the suburbs. I'll be looking at my windows sometimes like I'm still in the hood. But those are traumas, and those are real things. You know what I'm saying? But PTSD. I had to teach my kids in real life. I had to teach my kids about those things and how it affects us as a community, as a people, and so they can know what to fight for.
Yeah.
So they can know what to stand for. You know what I'm saying? And my mom always used to tell me, she stand for something to die for nothing. And so, I truly believe that, man. And so I get the opportunity to share the fight with them. Otherwise, we lose a generation. And I think that's another reason why music is so easily influencing on our children, is because I think we need to spend more time influencing them, impacting them, empowering them, and teaching them what is and what ain't, and what to stand for. Like, at the very least, what to stand for. Have a standard for something about life. Otherwise, life will be whatever I make it.
You're right.
And so yeah, man, it's definitely been challenging conversations behind it, but I think they get the understanding, especially my 12-year-old. I think she gets to understand it because now she's in history, learning about slavery and all kinds of stuff. So now her mind is like, and she'll go hardcore one way, And I'm like, whoa, hold on. But understanding those things happen, those things are true, those things are real. We want to fight to keep it from happening again. And we're seeing reflections of things. So we need change, baby. And you got to stand for change, baby. And love the people that are good. Love the people who care about what you care about. Like, and and really create connection and connectivity there, where it don't matter what color your skin is. If you this way and you for this and you don't stand for what is good, at least, then I don't want to deal with you. And maybe that's not the kind of person I want to be. But if you are for this, I don't care if you're from, India. I don't care if you're from, China or somewhere in Asia. I don't care if you're from Africa or Nova Scotia. I don't care. You
Right.
know, I
Right.
want to, you know, we can create family and community with like-minded individuals, and I think that that's the idea. But they don't know what it is until, you know, they understand. So I think we definitely have a big part in helping navigate and understand what life is. And I think we got a
Yeah.
lot of kids, a lot of the youth who have no guidance, you know, and so that's another topic.
Yeah. And when you said that, when you was like, I was about to be like, and that's where music comes in, because
Yes.
when children don't have guidance, parental guidance, they go out, and not even go out, but they can just put on some headphones or and listen to things. And, you know, these people are maybe they're 16, 17, 20, 30, 40-year-old people giving them information about what they went through. Oh, I grew up and my daddy left. I'm over here about to rap too. I'm rapping to yo. I took a triple. I'm rapping with that in my head right now.
We're
So
gonna pull you out of retirement.
right.
We're gonna pull you out of retirement.
Nah, man. Nah, but straight up though, like you get artists who they tell their story, but they don't tell them like, you don't have to do what I did. You don't have to go through what I went through. Yes, I sold dope. Yes, I did this. Yes, I did that. I shot. I did this, you know, but this is my story. This isn't for you to take on and live yourself. So now you got little dope boys, because now Master P ain't selling dope no more. But you know, now I'm using Master P because I'm 90s. All right, so but you know, now Master P ain't selling dope no more. Yeah, but they still here, and he's making money legitimately. But then if a kid listens to something from a long time ago and he doesn't even know, because Master P never told him, hey, I this is what I used to do, but I learned how to not make trouble and not, you know, get locked up by doing something that was profitable to my soul and to my family, you know. So I just give you props, you know, for staying in the game, bro, because a lot of people would have, you know, left already. Because once you talk about, oh, you rapping, and then you say, oh, I mentioned God in my rap, people automatically go ahead and put you in a category of, oh, you holier than thou Christian guy, never been through anything. But that's not the case. You know what I mean? So I want you to take us on a journey from let's say 2007, because I graduated high school. No, let's go to 2006, 2007. Take me on a journey of like, you know, what was going on in life during that time, and you know, how did you end up from Summerville? You know, did you go straight to Dallas, or what happened?
Oh, okay. So they got to back up a little further.
We got to go back.
I left Summerville, South Carolina, when I was about 12 years old, 12, I think maybe 13. And it was always because my family, you know, we kind of had a hard time being stable a lot, you know, and so we moved around a lot. And my mother was in a relationship that led us to Savannah, Georgia. And so we ended up in Savannah. I started my freshman year there. And from my freshman year on, I was there, and I moved to Dallas in 2008. But Savannah was definitely a faster speed and faster pace for me. Like I said, Summerville has, you know, it's a town, it's a small town in the sense. It's definitely grown since then. It's definitely a city.
It is. It's grown.
Growing up, like, you know, it was different pace. I remember being shot at by a white guy in a Dixie Outfitter shirt on a pickup truck in Summerville, South Carolina. Like, that was the first place I experienced racism. You know what I'm saying? Because I having to understand that, and running from somebody shooting at you at 11 and 12 years old. Like I said, I moved to Savannah, Georgia. It was more.
Can you stop right there, Brandon? Look, because I wanted, because we got to stop right there, because a lot of people don't know that, like, this, we've been experiencing things like this since like back in the day. Like I had my own incident as well, like a couple of ones, you know, with racism in Summerville. Like I love Summerville. I love my people from Summerville, white, black, whatever, right? But there are some people in Summerville who are really racist, you know, and people don't really know. So like, could you just talk about, like, just really quick on what it was like for you to go through that, and like how it made you feel? Because, you know, you was about to just mention it and then move on, but as black men, we don't get the opportunity to say, you know, I went through this, and also before you say that, Enoch was like my singing cherub brothers. That's my Enoch, my guy.
Yeah, Enoch, what's happening, man?
What it
Oh
do?
man, memories, man.
But yeah, go ahead. So how did that make you feel, and what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us can, a lot of you guys can attest to it that, you know, grew up with us, man. But yeah, like growing up, it was a thing called Dixie Outfitters, and it was like the Confederate flag brand T-shirts, and a lot of kids would wear it with their camouflage and their camouflage hats and all that, and it was like the thing.
Right.
Even though Summerville is kind of a mixed town, you know what I'm saying? But
It is.
I guess, you know, coming up as the lesser, you know, it was different for me to experience that. I think I was out in the middle of playing with a couple other, you know, teenagers, you know, preteen. We was all out there just kicking and having fun.
Right.
And I just remember a pickup truck, because everybody wear pickup trucks when, you know, you support, you know,
I had a little one.
what's going on with that. So it was like everybody
Right.
had the pickup truck. If you wore Dixie Outfitter, you wanted a pickup truck or something. I don't know, but just to see it, like, you know, I didn't know what was going on at first, you know, and then to see this truck ride by, and to hear them niggas, you know, bow, you know, shoot the shotgun.
Wow.
And it wasn't like it was a continuous shooting, but to be shot at, you know what I'm saying? And it was for a moment I had to really, like, it wasn't real. It was definitely surreal. So I had to really understand what was happening. I was like, wow, like, did that just happen? You know, and are y'all okay? You know, like, first things first, like, they just shooting out in the middle, you know, just of everybody. So it's just like, you know, experiencing that and seeing how it made me feel. For me, it definitely it made me really identify that racism was real. I think as a kid, like, I definitely felt oblivious to the idea of what real racism was until I actually experienced it. Like, I think for a lot of people, even like in today's, you know, what we experience in the day, a lot of people would suggest, before all of the, you know, Trump, you know, boost and some of the divisions that we're experiencing, that racism wasn't really prevalent anymore. It wasn't really here anymore. But the truth is that there are a lot of people who dislike you for how you look, you know. And so I had to experience that and understand that for myself in real time, and go home and really see, like, wow, this is real here. And really, it made me look over my shoulder a little more. So I think that's some of where some of the trauma started, you know. Is recognizing that everybody don't care about me just because I'm a nice kid or I'm a nice guy, or because I'm smart, or because I'm helpful. You know, it's people out there who could care less, you know. And so, yeah, for sure, that's kind of where it took me initially.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry that happened to you, you know, because people got to be sorry that happened. It's like, oh, you're black.
Man.
You just get over it. You know, nah, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that, bro. You know, that sucks.
Yeah.
But so after around that time, then you're headed over to Savannah, right?
Yeah. So, and you know, we resilient, man. I think that's one thing I love about Black people, man, throughout history and throughout, you know, our time. It's like I've seen, like, and understand we got a resilience. And that's why, you know, I think that, and on the other side of the coin, we're so celebrated, you know what I'm saying? Especially in our own communities, and because we're resilient, man. And but yeah, after that, like, I ended up moving to Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia was a different pace. Definitely more city life, street life. We living by blocks rather than area code, you know, or subdivision. You know, we living by the blocks, you know, 34th Street and all that, you know, MLK and, you know, all that stuff. So I came up the west side of Savannah, man, and Caton Homes projects and throughout the hoods, man. Like, I've been a little bit of everywhere, east side, west side. But yeah, it changed my life, man, because I had to grow up differently now. Like, and I think those kind of experiences kind of shaped me for where I was going. And I think God is so intentional, man. Like, I think that all our experiences add up for a divine destination and divine purpose. So I definitely feel like a lot of the experiences I had previously kind of prepared me for where I was going. Where in Summerville, you want to live this life where you can wave at some random stranger and they kind of wave back, you know. Whereas you go here, you like, you know, and they look at you like, and keep moving, mind my business, you know. And so you learn quick, like, okay, people mind their business, like, it's not close knit. Like Summerville, you recognize that even though it's not quite, real small, everybody knows each other,
Yeah.
in some way. But here it's like mind your business, and that's one of the first things that somebody shared with me, like, man, like, don't go here, don't do that, mind, do this, do that. And I'm like, man, like, I gotta be me,
Right.
But it definitely shaped me in different ways, man, and having to grow into a different culture,
Yeah.
and understand life differently because of that. And so, we grew up in, like I said, we were always having trouble with being stable, man. So we grew up in the poor areas, Section 8s, and wherever we could stay, whoever we could stay with. Sometimes we didn't have, we got kicked out or this or that again, and who can we stay with, and now I'm in a whole different area with a whole different set of people and got to go to a whole different school, and all of that stuff. I think I've been to like 3-4 different high schools.
Yeah.
And that, the high school only 4 years, and so, I can say definitely having to see those cultures, the cultural shock and the change, man, definitely helped shape me, but it helped me see life differently. And I think that's what goes into music is, all the experiences that go with having to survive and having to understand and to navigate what you're living in and experiencing differently, what you got to do in order to survive, and all those different, facets of life that come with that. That's the stuff that I talk about. That's the stuff I experienced when I moved to Savannah. And then once I graduated high school, like I said, I was working in Target in Savannah, and it was like a year out of high school. And I was talking to my uncle who just passed, actually. He brought me up a little bit as a kid, and he kind of raised me as his son, and he was actually working with my cousins who were singers at the time, on their music career and basketball. And those are all things I was into. I was even taking, like, I was working with one of my partners with fashion design. I was trying to do everything I could at the time, but, trying to learn who I wanted to be and what I could do with my hands, because I'm an artist, so it was like, what can I do with these hands that can get me out of here, out of these projects? And so anyhow, I talked with my uncle, and I was playing. I was like, man, I'm trying to move down there, man. And he was like, come on. I was like, don't play with me, man. Don't play with me. And so anyhow, long story short, that's how I ended up in Dallas, 2008.
Wow.
And from there, I was trying to grow. I was trying to grow from where I was coming from. But truth be told, I feel like God has been building me for something bigger than just leaving. You know what I'm saying? So he had to develop me for some other reasons. And it wasn't just to leave. It was definitely to give back. So I think that's what my purpose, is tied to.
Right. Like going through those situations where you're moving, you're going to different high schools, and, I'm sure a lot of people may have similar stories or may have stories of like not being able to go to school or just like Section 8, housing, all that stuff. Right. And to be where you are right now as a Black man, I have to say that I just want people to see that, like, he just said all of that. And he's right here in his purpose right now. And I want people to think about those people in their life who may be, having to move, who may be sleeping on couches, staying at other people's houses, who may be, they don't have any money right now. And maybe people that went to a different high school each year, and, you might have had a negative thought about right there, white, Black, Indian, Hispanic. Stop right there and understand that when they go through things, they have to stay there.
Yeah.
On through is that he's been through it, and he's been through the fire, and now he's at a place in his purpose, and everything that he's been through has added, to where he is right now. So I really am glad that you kept going, and hopefully my internet's not cutting in and out. Is it good? We're good. Can you hear me?
I think we're good now. I think we got, yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, like I don't know what's going on, man. I'm telling you, but we're gonna carry on. So you get into you said, yeah, we got to hold it down on the because the internet's acting fool up right now. And it's probably because elections are happening in a little bit. I hope y'all voted, but
I hope y'all voted.
Yeah, like because it's going to be real tomorrow. I don't know, or tonight. I don't know. I might, everybody stay indoors. But
Okay.
so you go through your journey, and you move from Savannah down to Dallas. And when did you start your career? Like, I know you came out with was Corpus out into no, Nausea was out in
No,
2015
yeah.
or 16,
I think
right?
my first joint I did probably came out in 2011. Dear
Yeah,
Introduction. The introduction I think was like in 2011.
yeah.
Um, something like that.
Okay. That's so in 2011 you dropped Dear, you said Dear Introduction. And then
Yeah, Dear
oh yeah,
Introduction.
because that's when you got the news broadcast, and it's like it got
Yeah,
gunshots and
before
stuff.
yeah, it was no. I think you talking about
I
that's
thought that was the introduction.
From My Soul to Yours.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in
Yeah.
2011, I'm over. I guess I was getting out the military at that time, and you were. So that's when your career started, or was it right? So right when you got to Dallas, did it start then, or was it like you started
No.
doing other things?
No, so like just kind of backpacks a little bit. So yeah, in Savannah, like I got the name BT from some guys I went to school with, and I used to have long locks. And at the time, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, they were the projects next to ours. And I was like, yo, why y'all call me BET? And we at school at right now. And so he was like, man, because you look like somebody from BET. And like with me, I try to take an opportunity to hear God in everything. I don't care what setting I'm in. I don't care how I am. Like God is
Yeah.
always speaking to me, right? So at the time, I'm not like going to church and with my Bible and everything. Like when he tells me this, I hear like you belong somewhere
Mm,
different. And so, but anyhow, I would
wow.
freestyle on the porches and the patios, and everybody like, man, you need to do 106 in Park. You need to do this and do that. I was in a
Yeah.
poetry group and all this other stuff. And but when I moved to Dallas, I was still trying to find my identity with music.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to freestyle. It's one thing to have some organized music.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first got here, I was still writing music. I didn't know anybody really, but I started meeting people through the gym. I meet
Yeah.
everybody through basketball. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but I met a lot of people through basketball, and that's where I started generating like connections with people who produce, who record as engineers, and all those kinds of things. Other artists. I think the
Yeah.
first time I saw Lil Twist was in Park in the
Yeah.
Woods Rec out here in Dallas, and so
Yeah.
um, so it was a lot of things like that, and I started connecting with guys and recording, and people like it was always like, yo, something different about you. Like your music
Yeah.
different. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
I started experiencing that and having to believe that about me. Like to
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm me. You know what I'm saying? Like even to this
Right.
day, people
Right.
look at me a certain way, but to me, I'm me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And but yeah, so it started with me recording and all of that. But I actually released my first project a couple years later
Mm-hmm.
when I met Scott Kenshin, one of my good friends, my brothers, and I met him through my wife actually. Around the time we were married or something like that. I
Yeah.
met him, and he really started guiding me with music
Mm.
because he used to produce for Wu-Tang. He was
Yeah.
Goldfingers. That's
Wow.
Goldfingers. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
he started like I was like, God, what are you
That's
doing?
crazy.
But he started putting me on a path and direction for what music was and kind of the system and strategy and structure for music when it
Mm-hmm.
goes out, how it should happen, how much you need to stockpile, you know, all this and
Yeah.
all that. Deadlines. The first time I ever had deadlines and all this other stuff. So it was already going before
Yeah.
people heard me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
yeah,
I like that. I'm glad you said all of that because a lot of people have maybe heard like, oh yeah, you should be this, you should do that, and sometimes it could be like overboard. Some people will say, oh, you should go do this, and it's really not something you want to do. But when it aligns, like you
yeah,
started noticing that things were aligning and people
yeah,
started saying things, and you were even just from you going from Savannah to Dallas was destiny. We don't really
yeah,
realize the decisions we make become our destiny, based on the decisions. So like here you are, just I keep thinking about your song now. Every time I say here you are, I see you shining.
Major
All right.
prophet.
Anyway,
Major
Major
prophet.
Prophet. But here you are today, after having gone through all of that, being able to stay in your purpose and listen to the voices. And I'm sure you had days where you're probably like, man, I don't feel like doing this, or this isn't going to work out. But the decision, how did you make that decision to stick with your purpose once people started confirming what you were doing? How did you make that decision to move forward?
Man, it's for me, man, like I've seen some real low points, man. I've literally been homeless, like outside, sleeping outside type stuff.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was always looking for more. I always believed like God had more for me. Like it would bring me to tears to think, like, God, I know you got more for me. And to see myself in my position. So when everything started aligning for me, like to tell you the truth, the hardest part was for me not to believe the hype. Like I didn't want to believe the hype. I felt like one of my biggest prayers was, God, like if it's gonna change me, I don't want it. And I didn't want to get gassed up so much that I lose the sense of why I was making my music. Like, because my brand of music ain't everybody brand of music. And it was the very thing that made people look at me differently. It made me stand out. And I had to really like identify what I was doing it for. And that's something that like Scott, it's so many stories I could share with you that we bypassed and went over to get here. But Scott was one of those real influential people when it came to music that made me consider that. Nobody ever sat down and said, why are you doing it? Is it for the money? If it's for the money, you might as well you can go work a 9 to 5 because everybody ain't getting that.
Right.
I don't,
That's
and
facts.
everybody you think getting that ain't getting that. Like it's not what you think it is. So it's got to be deeper than rap. And he told me that it's got to be passionate for you. It's got to be like love to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he sat me down and made me think about some things rather than just the ambition and the talent. And I'm connected to something or someone who can help elevate. It was more than that. He made me really think about it. But that's where I had to put my feet in the ground and get some foundation. Because I knew I was talented enough to sound like the Drakes and the Waynes, because when I was recording it, people asking, oh, is that new? Is that Drake? Is that Wayne? And when I say, no, that's me, they're like, oh, now it's but I had to really, I was working a security job. This is where it changed for me, because I was doing music just to create music and entertain and saying whatever came to my mind. But I was working a security job overnight at a company. We should just have to monitor the company. And so I'm walking around and I got plenty of time in my hand to think. And so I literally heard a voice say, I'm going to take you back to your first love, but it won't be the same. And I said, what? And to me, I was like, man, I don't want to be a cornball. I don't want to be corny, man. Like, if I'm gonna do this, I wanna be lit. Like, if I can be honest, I want to be lit. Like, and but he said, look, just tell your story. And from that moment on, I did a song called Midas Touch that went into Dear Introduction. And it was the first time I wrote a song that wasn't like gospel rap, but it wasn't all the way secular neither. It was a culmination of experience and thoughts of the idea that my mom used to share: whatever you touch, baby, you turn to gold. Like whatever you can put your mind to, whatever you touch, it always manifests. And that's when I started putting that there. So like that was the implementation of purpose and having influential people like my Scott Kenshin, who made me think and consider life beyond the ambition, beyond the dollars that may never come, and all the desires that come with the occupation or whatever. Made me think beyond that and really put my feet in the ground and find something solid to stand on and have a message, have a story, And so that's what really made me focus in on it. So I really heard the voice of God tell me, like, I want you to go at this, but I'm going to shape it for you. This time I'm going to shape it for you. And
come on.
And so that's what I did. I started going, and as I was going, it was evolving, and I started recognizing that my story was beneficial, that I wasn't just a silent person that nobody ever cared or cared about or would listen to. He said, just tell your story. I'll do the rest. And so that's what I've been doing.
Man, that's so big. That's so big because, just tell the story. I'll do the rest, and then hearing, God speak to you and holding on to it. You know, a lot of people give up bad things. I mean, good things. They give up good things. Like when God drops something good in our spirits, we're like, nah, that ain't for me. You know, and then we go continue to live an impoverished mindset and with an impoverished spirit. You know, and we feel like God isn't blessing us. God isn't trying to take care of us. You know, and like you said, your uncle was like, yeah, come on. You know, and you know, so like when you step out and you look for other things that are not where you're standing on, because if you're standing where you're standing is sinking, you don't need to be looking where you're standing at. You need to look elsewhere outside of it. You see what you can grab onto, you know, so that you can move towards your purpose. So your uncle doing that brought you closer to your purpose, and you taking the opportunity to say yes to your purpose brought you to this place, you know, and I respect that, because I know as an entrepreneur, as a hustler, it's not easy to say yes to your purpose, yes to your destiny, because it hasn't always been easy, you know. So what message do you have for new artists? And we're going to continue with your story, but right here, what message do you have for the new artist who is sleeping on their best friend's couch, who is eating loaves of bread for dinner, you know, like to that person struggling right now on Section 8, whatever they are? What is your word to them, you know, regarding being an artist, an entrepreneur, or just a person, you know, moving towards their purpose?
Yeah, no, I pay it forward, man. Like, you know, there are a handful of artists that pull at me now for the very same things we're talking about. And one of the things I tell them is, you know, definitely first thing I ask them is, what's your message? Like, what you want people to get when they see you? Like, what do you want people to hear when they hear you? So I would definitely say, know what your cause is. What is your cause? Because that's going to give you your identity. Because you're gonna find yourself in a swamp full of swamp things, and you gotta have a sense of identity. Otherwise, you'll get swallowed up in everything else that can swallow you up. And so that's the very first thing I always give them, because that's purpose. It's beyond the money. And I make sure they know that. I pay it forward. It's beyond the money, because you know, there's a 1,000,001 people doing exactly the same thing you're doing, and sometimes even harder than how you going. So like when you talk about money, you know, it may come, it may not, but if you got passion will take you a lot further than quick change can, you know. And so I make sure that that's one thing. But I definitely say have passion and have faith in what you're doing. If you can't give 100% of your belief and your hope and your faith to what you do, I say don't do it. You know, even I did part-time in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like, there's a time and place for everything. And I do believe that there's a training ground. That's one thing Scott also gave me. Like, there's a training ground, but how long you gonna train? That was the other thing. How long you gonna train? Like, when I tell you, like, he was like senseiing me,
like
man.
That.
But he was senseiing me, man. How long you gonna train? And like, he hit me across the head. I'm coming in with bangers. Like, how long you gonna train though? Straight facing me. And I'm like, wow. And so, but no, I would definitely say, like, believe and have passion in it. I don't care how abstract. You got to have a sense of knowing about what you got. You got to believe in your gift. And you got to know that, you know, if you don't believe, nobody else will. You know, and I think the illusion is that these people, you know, we see, you know, popping up, it's just happened overnight. These people have been going for years before Drake and everybody like that. They've been going for years before people heard, you know, some of their best material that got them put on, you know. So I would definitely say those things. And somebody else gave me this nugget. He said, for the first 2 years of your career, my good friend Vincent Herbert, he said, for the first 2 years, he said, all she's saying is yes and thank you.
I like that. That's powerful. Yes and thank you.
Yeah, real life, because, you know, opportunities will come. And I would say, as a believer too, you know, to consider God in all things.
That's nice.
You know, and you don't have to be super saved to be a believer, but if you have any sense of God, and you find yourself a call to His name, a Christian or a believer, like, consider God in all things, pray on it, think on it, let Him lead you. I ask God to guide me, man. So I tell the guys the same thing, man. Find some sense of guidance and find God in it, you know. So that's what I would give. That's what I would give, man. And
That's good.
I think those things will definitely help navigate you and guide you through the process, man. Like, and find some good people, some mentors. That's the other one. I'm sorry.
That's
If not
that's the
one of the
powerful thing
biggest
you
ones,
got.
because I'm over here quoting people that important to me. No, the
Right.
biggest
It's
thing, one of
cool.
the
Yeah.
biggest things I can give is find somebody who can guide you, who can mentor you, who can give you wisdom on the area of your expertise, and find yourself studied. That was the other thing I was given. So I got like 5 nuggets right now. Find
Right.
yourself studied in your profession. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Understand your business, understand your craft. And I think for new artists, the other thing I talk to new artists about is a lot of times we think that it's just about the craft, and it's not about my skill. It's hardly about my skill.
Yeah.
It's how I navigate. It's how I know the business, because there are a lot of artists who aren't as talented as 90% of the people trying to make it, but they
Yeah.
know the business. They know how to connect. They know how to connect dots, and they know the business. So how to make it work. While we over
Yeah.
here making the craft as crafty as it can be, it's beautiful. It sounds great, but can't get heard. You
Right.
know. And so
Exactly.
definitely know your business, know your craft, find leadership and mentorship with someone who can help guide you. I think me and you talked about this when we was little kids with the
Right.
servants with a
Yep.
testimony,
Patrick.
SWAT
Right.
click, you know.
SWAT.
But finding leadership and guidance that can help lead you in the right direction, because otherwise you'll spin your wheels in a lot of areas and
Right.
find yourself still at square one because you had no real direction. But that's why that's important, man. So keep those things in mind. I think that'll be like your foundation, and a lot of it's going to be touch and go, especially as you talking about an industry that's
Yeah.
always evolving.
Yeah.
The entertainment industries are always evolving, especially when we talking hip hop. Hip hop is not just hip hop no more. Hip hop is, merged with so many different sounds now.
Yeah. It is.
Even into the way it's presented vocally, it's even evolving. Like, you got to be able to be a part of the sound. So you got to. That's a part of the study. That's a part of the
Wow.
being. That's a part of being in the know of what the culture is and how the
Yeah.
culture is evolving. And then knowing what your sound is in the middle of all of it. That's what I mean by
Come
that,
on.
being in the swamp full of swamp things,
Yeah.
it's so many people out here doing all the things that we are doing. And it's about, how do you stand out? How do you set apart? What's your resume say?
Right.
How do you move? Like, what's your efficiency?
Mm-hmm.
How fast can you get it done?
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, man. And so it's
Yeah.
important. That's important.
Yeah. Now you sound like a music artist coach.
Believe me.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
You sound like a music artist coach though, for real. And Brandy Blake, what up, girl? She says, "What up, Brandy Allen?
Yo,
What it do, girl?
what is
Summerville,
happening?
Green Wave,
Oh
Summerville."
man, we old heads now, man.
Right, we all heads. Hey, look, it's good to see our people on here, man. It's good to see our people on here. So I know. So we've had, like, look, if y'all didn't just get within that last 2 minutes of what he would just said just now, just go back later and watch it, because you need to go write that down. I have to go back and write that down. Everything you said, I was like, man,
Wow.
where my pen at? But I'm gonna write that down later though. So,
Wow.
so here we are. We're in Dallas. How do you meet your wife?
Oh man, through my aunt. So the uncle that I was telling you about, my uncle Beanie. That's my uncle Beanie. He and his wife took me in. My aunt Cheryl and my cousins there. They were singers, so I ended up moving here with them. And my aunt actually introduced me to my wife.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she introduced. I guess she showed my wife a picture. At the time, she
Got
wasn't. I
him.
didn't really know, much about it at the time. And I guess
Yeah.
she showed her a picture, and she's like, "Oh, he is so fine." All that stuff. Like, I was like, you know what I'm saying? No, but it came off like that. Like, she showed her a picture, and my wife loved it. So, and she was like, looking for a friend. Let's just, y'all connect. I know you need some good people. He good people. And she told me the same thing. She good people, like, y'all could clack, So
Yeah.
true enough, when we start connecting, we click clack, and we've been clacking
Right.
ever since. Okay.
We've been clacking. How long y'all been clacking?
Man, 9 years of marriage.
Yeah.
11 years together. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a long
And the
time.
awesome part is that, like, I think it's awesome that she's in ministry. Like, I think that's just
Yeah.
the most awesome part, because if you, like, you as a rapper and then you being like, you know, a Christian hip hop artist, you know, and then if your wife was, let's say, like R&B, you know, nothing wrong with R&B, but like it's just
Nothing wrong
like,
with it.
but
Look,
if she was, you know, then I would love to see how that would work in a sense. But it's awesome when he sends you your helpmate and she's able
oh,
to give you the
absolutely.
assist. So how has that been for you? Just as, you know, as a leader, you know, your wife is also a leader. How do y'all work that out? Like, as her being a pastor,
That's,
how do y'all work that out?
that's a great question, man. Like, so my wife is Pastor Cora Jakes Coleman for the world. To me, she co. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
early on in premarital counseling, that was one of the questions, like, because I wasn't doing music the way I was doing music, and one of the questions that came up was, is with both of your interests and desires for, you know, your career paths, how do you bring them together? Like, how do
Yeah.
you merge your worlds? You know, how do you bring it together?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a struggle trying to figure that out, because at the
Yeah.
time I think my wife was still identifying who she wanted to be. She's an author, and
Mm-hmm.
she's been writing a lot longer than she's been preaching.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and so initially she was just a writer to herself, you know, and we were going through a
Yeah.
lot of different experiences. And so ministry, I don't know if was on the forefront of her mind, but it came into play, you know. But I think that God is intentional, man. Like, he knew what I needed.
He
Like,
is.
my story with God is crazy. If I start like going through those stories, man, um, I think it'd be kind of mind blowing. Like, but he always like put me in the positions. He always put me
Yeah.
in specific positions to make sure that I get done what I'm supposed to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, he knew I
Bless
needed a woman who knew the Lord.
you. Right.
He knew I needed it
Yeah.
because, you know, I was already on the fence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to fulfill purpose, I think it was ideal. It was perfect for destiny.
Yeah.
And so for her to minister in the way she does, my
Mm-hmm.
wife, she's raw. She raw,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and she gonna give it that way. And I love that about her, because, you know, we get
Right.
so many people who kind of coat it. She's not gonna coat nothing. And true enough,
Yeah.
I don't want to coat nothing,
Yeah.
you know. So I think we found
That's
a
dope.
way for the music to be inspirational and
Mm.
impactful in that way. So that
Yeah.
way we can always come together.
That's a beautiful thing. And I'm over here trying to pull up her book for you guys. So let me share that real quick just to give her a quick shout out.
Yeah. So she did Faith in It, and her newest book is Ferocious Warrior.
Bam,
Yeah,
right there. So that's the book right there. I
absolutely.
actually bought it last night, FYI.
Dope,
And
dope.
so I'm gonna tell her she's gonna have to sign it though. I'm gonna have to send it to y'all. And she's gonna have to sign it for your
Man,
boy.
she will sign it.
All
Okay.
right, cool. So y'all make sure y'all go check that out. It's available on Amazon. Cool. But
Absolutely.
so I think that's just an amazing thing there. She's an author, pastor, and you know, you're able to still operate as a man, you know, in your household, around your family. And you know, this is something that people don't talk about. Like, when you have a bold woman who you know, she can handle herself. She could be like, look, I know who I am. I don't need a man. You know, if you know how women, I don't need a man. You know, it's awesome to see a powerful woman who can handle her business and still be equal with her husband and still
Yeah.
walk in the same planes with her husband. So I think that's just awesome and beautiful. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that, man. And so I know yesterday when we were
Blessings.
talking, you were mentioning about married couples counseling, or marriage counseling. I'm talking about married
Yeah.
couples counseling. But marriage counseling. So how has that been going for you guys, and how has it helped you in your marriage?
I think that it's definitely one of those things that is I love doing. First of all, I love
Yeah.
helping people. You know what I'm saying? Like, by any means necessary. If you need 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna help out. You know, but I love seeing people thrive and strive, because that's something that I wish that I had early on. Like, was the
Right.
extra know-how, the give me some help, some clues, and let me do the work type thing. But we
Mm-hmm.
believe in marriage. We believe in the unity of marriage, and we believe in the, you know, what the heart does, you know.
Yeah.
And because that's what the ministry is, right? That's the
Right.
call. We're
That's the
called to
truth.
people, we're called to hearts, we're called to all of that. So it's one of those things where we get to share the wisdoms that we've acquired, man. Like we both have like a similar mindset when it comes to development. Like it don't
Mm-hmm.
take a lot for us to learn.
Yeah.
And
That's good.
we can bump our head a few times, but I'm gonna get tired of bumping that head, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that we both carry, and that's helped us both along the way, is that we never found ourselves too stubborn with pain that we wouldn't
Mm.
find a resolve. So we take
Yeah.
that
I like that.
into helping others, and
Yeah.
because true enough, like nothing that we share or give is going to fix it. The work you put in fixes it. So like we just
Mm-hmm.
encourage others to put in a
Yeah.
different kind of work, because a lot of
Yeah.
times it's not necessarily that we don't work. A lot of times is we don't know how. And that's
Mm.
what we found out. And it's the same
Yeah.
principle we're talking about with the children, the next generation. True enough, it's
Mm-hmm.
the same principles. A lot of times it's not that we can't, it's not that we won't. A lot of times we don't know how.
Right.
And so
That's true.
and so as we've gotten wisdom, whether through others or through experiences, we take those same tools, those same nuggets we've seen work time and time again, and be able to pour those into others and help navigate through the experiences.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's perception. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we miss each other based off of perception. Sometimes I mishear you
Mm-hmm.
because of my perception, and sometimes I feel you differently because of my misperception. And so
Yeah.
it's the largest part, in my opinion, one of the largest parts of marriage, outside of love and
Yeah.
respect.
Right.
And we
That's
give that,
facts.
and we allow each other the space to see each other enough to know that you've been tried and that you
Mm-hmm.
true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we offer the
That's
same
dope.
thing for others. Yeah.
Yeah. So do y'all offer it virtually? Like, is it only people in Dallas? Only
Look,
people in
look
your
at you, look at you.
ministry?
No, man, like it's a
Now I was
lot
just
of
asking for
times.
everybody. Just
Yeah,
the
right,
whole
right, right,
world.
right, right. Look, the whole world gonna be on my no, but no, real life. A lot of times it filters through my wife. A lot of times because she's pastor. She's kind of out there with all of the people all of the time, and so a
Right.
lot of times people just reach out, and it's virtual,
Mm-hmm.
and we're able to connect with people as many as we can, as many as we're allotted to be able
Yeah.
to help and do those kinds of things, man. So yes, it's
Yeah.
it's we're available for those kinds of things to help people who are suffering because of unknowing and perception and stubbornness and all those kinds of things that play into the idea of the self identity when we're trying to build unity, um,
Right.
and build a team, build a marriage, build a an establishment. That's what that is. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, and I appreciate that. So you guys out there, I hope even if you guys can't get a hold of them, I hope that we at least married couples, married people, like the marriage counseling is really legit. Especially if it's spiritually
Yeah,
driven. Like if you have someone that's able to communicate with God and listen to the Holy Spirit is powerful.
yeah,
So I'm pretty sure y'all are making a great impact. And so moving through the family, we got Pops. He's like super popular and everybody
yeah.
knows him. And how so being under Bishop TD Jakes, how has that been for you?
Shout
Just
out.
switching from being someone who might have seen or heard of him to, where you are now.
Well, shout out to my father and my mother-in-law, Bishop TD Jakes and First Lady Riri Jakes, and my family. No, real life. If I could be honest with you, like coming into this family, I didn't really know. But at the same token, I was never a person to be struck with celebrity. Like I was never, like I said, I come from the
Right.
projects, and so I grew up a certain way, and I never really looked at like celebrities like this, oh my gosh, kind of thing. It was like they just like me, they just on a
Right.
different level. Everybody got their problems.
Mm-hmm.
We all got money and money problems. Okay,
Right.
and
Facts.
it's just how many people know you. But no, when I
Yeah.
came in initially, I really didn't know like that. You know what I'm saying? But as I
Right.
got to know, I recognized like this is a father. Like first and foremost, I didn't meet Bishop TD Jakes. You know what I'm saying? I met her father. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the world gets to meet Bishop TD Jakes
Switched
when they
up.
see him. I met her father. You
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, man, when I met him,
That's real.
you know, it was one of the most intense moments, but it gave me solace to know how close knit her family was and how much they cared.
Yeah.
And it also, I think, also too, it helped me. It helped check me and keep me in a position to reverence not just my soon to be wife at the time,
Right.
but her family. Like I respect people, but and maybe respect them more, you know,
Yeah.
just to see how close knit they were, because that was something I didn't necessarily see growing up. I love that. You
Yeah.
know, I love that they would come out the back or whatever to be all there in your grill, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Right.
but no, the wisdom that he shared, man, and a lot of the guidance that I have acquired, I got from him. I
Yeah.
got, you know, I was fortunate enough to get guidance in every aspect of my life, whether I was in the streets, whether I was in the church, whether I was becoming a man or becoming a husband. I was always able, whether becoming an artist, I was always able to find somebody who was right there to pour into me. And you know, in those crucial moments of developing into that man and that
Yeah.
husband, and knowing what the stages were in between boyfriend and husband, like he was definitely a pivotal person, a pivotal man who inspired me and influenced me in a lot of ways, gave me perspective on a lot of things that I didn't have because I
Yeah.
didn't have a dad, you know.
Yeah.
So I took, you know, he took me on as a son, and I took him on as a father figure.
Right.
And to this day he's beyond my father-in-law. You know,
Yeah.
he's my covering, he's my pastor, but beyond all of that stuff, he's definitely a dad to me. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I respect that, and I love it, and I appreciate it, and
Yeah.
grateful for it,
That's
man. Like,
awesome.
but yeah, and then spiritually, man, definitely being able to develop under him and grow and take, and the wisdom and the know-how and all of that stuff I glean from him. I might not even be in the same room, but if I'm in the earshot, I hear
Yeah.
wisdom. And he's
Yeah.
talking like it's like the kids, you know, the kids be at the kiddie table and the
Mm-hmm.
grown-ups talking business
Right.
or talking, you know, just wisdom. Like, you
Uh-huh.
know, no matter what I'm doing, if he's in the house, his, you know, his voice carries, and just hearing the
Yeah.
wisdom, man, like I gained so much from all of that. So and my
Yeah.
mother, same thing,
Yeah.
you know, she definitely nurtures and pours into me, and she's definitely got me together and in a lot of ways, and prepared me for position and purpose. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for all of it, man.
That's awesome. And it's good to see you with your family, man. It's good to see you like come from, not having the father figure to being a father. That
Right.
transition.
It's big.
A lot of men aren't successful at that transition from boy to man to father. They usually get stuck between boy to men. And
Yeah. Yeah.
from boy to men, and they never really make it to man, because as a father, I believe I haven't been a father yet. I've been an uncle, I've been a brother, cousin, and I've had my father. But like from what I've seen as a father, you don't leave your kids. You don't leave. I know like people have situations. Some people get
Yeah.
locked up. Some people die. Some people go through different experiences. Like my mom, she had her life going on, and I was pretty much raised by, Levi, my dad,
Mm-hmm.
so, and then my stepmom, who's my mom, like I don't call her my stepmom, I call her mom, and it was a workup to get to that point. But I started realizing the importance of these people in my life and their role in my life. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that you caught on to the mentors and your wife and all these people, and you held on to your purpose while making your connection. So that's just dope in general. So just
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
yeah.
Nah, man, God has always been in the mix. That's what I say, man. Like,
Yeah.
man, like I could talk for days about my story,
Yeah.
man, but I've always found God. No matter where I was, in my darkest places, I found God. Like
Yeah.
you'd be surprised, like God always met me. And that's why I say, like, I do what I do with purpose and passion,
Yeah.
because for me, it's not something that I gotta suggest or spectate to. I seen God.
Yeah.
I seen him, and he's always been there.
Facts.
And even when I didn't deserve it, you know what I'm saying? So I live like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I know we're at the 7 o'clock mark, but
Time flying,
I
man.
wanted to
What's
give you that.
going
I
on?
hope some people didn't get to listen to the beginning. What time? What time? We good? You good? I know you
I'm
a busy
good, man. Like I'm good right now. I'm good. You got me.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what single that you've put out, what single that you've put out has been like the one that you're like, man, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I walked through it. I know all your stuff is great, but I'm saying, what is that one that you have? And I know you have an album as well, but what's that one song or one album track? What
Jesus.
is it that gets you?
Oh Lord, it's probably one of them.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Last Days and
Last
Corpus.
Days.
I'll take three of them.
Corpus.
Oh Lord, Last Days and Corpus. In no particular order.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, man, I think Oh Lord, man, it made me question like I'm always reflecting. I put it in the music, but it's like it made me question where I am with all my desires, everything that I wanted, but everything that I'm facing.
Yeah, that's deep.
Lord God, can you tell me what all of this is for that I'm facing? All I ever wanted was just this. This is what I wanted. But when I wake up and I wake up from this fantasy, this is what we facing. And the truth of the matter is what we facing may not be the biggest issue. It's how I feel about what we face. And I feel like I got an obligation to the fight. You know what I mean? And that's a whole different perspective than just living in chaos. It's, what I'm saying? I feel like I have an obligation and responsibility to have a part in what's going on, So I think that was one of them. I say Corpus. I wrote Corpus and around the time that I got sick. That's something else I didn't share. I got a diagnosis in 2018 for kidney disease. And it shook my world, man, because I was really getting small. I was dying before my eyes and didn't know it.
Wow.
And I think my normal weight is like 220, 230. At the time that I got into the hospital, I was around 170 at 6'2".
Wow.
And so I was wondering why I kept losing weight, why I kept vomiting, why I couldn't hold food or water down. And am I dying, God? Am I dying? Is this what you wanted for me? Like, is this it? Because if this is it, I got a lot to consider with what we got, with the time I got. And so it took me into a headspace of like that I'd never been in before. And when I got into the hospital and they couldn't diagnose me for at least a month, they didn't know what was going on with me. Told me I got in right in time. I don't ever go to the hospital. I don't ever take medicine. And one night, I was like, babe, take me to the hospital. When she heard that, she knew automatically, like, oh, this is serious. Like, this is not a game. And so when I got there, man, like I said, a whole lot of things transitioned. They found out that I had a whole lot of calcium in my blood. And they were like, you got here just in time. Like, another night, you probably wouldn't have made it. Or, you could have gone into a coma, or different things like that. And they had to flush me with IVs and all this kind of stuff. And nobody could tell me what was going on. And doctors telling me it could be all kinds of cancers and all this and all that. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I'm looking at my wife, and I could see discouragement in her eyes. Like it could be over. And that shook me. So that was one of those songs that shaped me. Corpus, talking about the idea that we can't buy our way into heaven. Like, it's a lot of it's a lot of dead living around here. It's walking dead around here. People living without purpose. People who live with no idea about who they are, who they want to be, and what they want to serve. Nothing that's productive, nothing that produces life. And so I looked at it like almost like the living dead. Yeah. And so Corpus was one of those things like, well, I see a body I see bodies everywhere. And I was really talking about like the body of God, the body of Christ, man. Like, we got so many believers and just people in general outside of believers, who live these lives without purpose, and it's a dead thing. And it was just the idea of just metaphorically seeing so much death around, and recognizing that all of the things that we lust after or live after that don't produce life, like, is a dead thing. And so we can't buy our way into heaven. And then then I kind of got me a second wind while being in that state of mind of not knowing if I'm gonna live or die. And I wrote Last Days.
Yeah. Wow.
And Last Days was the idea, like, if these my last days, I wanna live it on purpose.
Right. Wow.
And on the flip side of that coin, if these are my last days in this hospital,
right.
I'm gonna live on purpose. Okay.
Right. About to
And so I'm about to turn up. And so that's what Last Days was about. Last Days was more my turn up. Like, man, I'm about to walk in here with so much flavor, man. Like, I'm like, you know, being so timid and all that stuff, man. We done with that. Like, we done with being the lesser. Like, I gotta put my mind on something more that I can actually walk in purpose and feel fulfilled for my kids, for my wife, and everything else that I'm afraid of, if I could be honest with you.
Wow.
And that's what that was.
Wow. So, man, you know, not a lot of people, get the opportunity to face death. They don't get that opportunity to know what it's like. And I call it an opportunity, like, because after even Afghanistan with my stuff, right? Like, so I get it. It's a tragic things, but it was an opportunity because now you said you were in a different headspace. You weren't even thinking the same anymore. You know what I'm saying? So like, so what was that, like, that click, like that paradigm shift? Like, what was that click like? And what would you tell someone that may never go through that, facing death moment, and God forbid they ever have to go through a facing death moment before the day they die. But like, what happens when you're standing at that line and it's like, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm going to live a purposeful life. Like, how did you turn that switch on?
Yeah, you got to make big choices. I think for me, what I recognize is that we live life and take so much for granted. Like, I remember the day after I got at the hospital, they had put me on, like, I think I started taking steroids or something like that. And I started thanking God for an appetite.
Wow.
Like, I ain't never had to thank God for appetite. And so, like, for me, you know what I'm saying? I could eat and I had a desire to eat. It was things like that made things different for me, because at the time I was in the hospital. Like, before I got to the hospital, mind you, this kind of started in 2017, towards the end of 2017, where I thought I was trying to lose weight and get good, fit, to where I'm not even trying, but I'm losing 2 to 3 pounds a day.
Wow.
By March 2018, and till I can't hold anything down. And in my head this whole time, I'm actually hiding this from my wife for months.
Wow.
That I'm throwing up and not knowing if I'm living or dying, because I'm so afraid of what that looks like. And so, by the time I filled her in on things, I could definitely see the panic in her. You know what I'm saying? And she's trying to be faithful, and I see that. And I'm holding the faith, with her. But at the same token, in my head, she don't know I'm fighting a war of knowing, or one, depression, 2, trauma, and knowing if I'm going to live or die. And that affected me because I got so much to be responsible for. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only that, like, I got, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was definitely pivotal for me in those moments where I started considering life more, considering all the opportunities I squandered, considering all the moments I didn't when I could have, or, just things like that, appetite, just eating, or being able to have energy to run around my kids without, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like I said, in the hospital, when they started telling me all this stuff and they couldn't figure out what was going on with me, it made me consider more. It made me consider more. And so,
did you ever doubt God in the midst of all of that? Like, were you ever like, man?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I did, and that's a war. That's a war. And so I had to not only face everything that I had been taught and had been teaching, I had to face what I preached.
Yeah.
And so, in those moments of insecurity, the floodgates open, and now you got all these different influences speaking to you, all your insecurities speaking to you, and they loudest voice. Not something you can do in your own strength, because at the time I don't have no strength.
Right.
So now all those insecurities that play on everything that I built my image on, or felt my safest and security in, were now challenged. So who are you? And that's what Major Prophet is about. It's who are you with all those things you pray for? But then again, who are you without all of those things that you thought made you?
Right.
You know? And so that was the
Major
war.
Prophecy. Yeah.
And
Was
so
that
I had
ID
to really
Clearwater?
consider
Was that where ID Clearwater came from, or what?
No, I Declare War came before Major Prophet. So
Okay.
and I truly feel like that was prophetic, man. And
Yeah.
like but it was really like at that time I Declare War came out, it was me declaring war on all those things that were holding me back, all those things that weighed on me and all of those kind of things. So I feel like I was challenged, you know, because we will be tested with what we know. And
Right.
so if I'm gonna be tried by fire, that was my fire, you know. And so I was in
Right.
my fire. And it definitely, like I said, made me consider more because I didn't know how much time I had left. Now I'm playing. Now I realize how much I'm playing on borrowed time.
Right.
And you know, living on borrowed time. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really had to take into consideration what I wanted out of life and what I wanted to accomplish because I'm a man of convictions and those things that I
Yeah.
feel I should do. If I don't get them done, believe me, they haunt me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
I'm that guy. And so
Yeah.
God knew he knows that about me. So I think that
Yeah.
he always puts me in perfect positions for submission and for purpose, like I said. So
Yeah.
then I started going hard. I started using every ounce of energy I had
Mm-hmm.
to put into my music and my family and
Yeah.
really take time to invest in myself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and really see what I needed now because now I gotta live differently.
Right.
Now I gotta respond differently to life. And it made me really challenge myself and challenge my insecurities to go further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm glad God brought you out of it, and I'm glad you came out of it. You know, like I'm
Oh
glad
man,
you came out of it, you know,
for sure.
because people, oh man, like when I talk about death and I talk about how close death is, you know, it doesn't, you know, people go through different things every day. Like today, somebody probably died in a car accident. Somebody probably got killed. Somebody probably got hit by something. Like it's just like something's happening all around the world. And a baby was born today, and then a baby turned 2 today. You know, like there's a whole lot of stuff happening, but while all of this is happening, while all the noise and all the extra stuff we fill ourselves with the purpose pod or music, food, ice cream, movie theater, like cars, houses, like after we remove everything from the matrix, after we take everything out of it, we only have life and death.
Yeah.
You know, and then with that, we have to decide how we're going to live our life and what we're going to do, you know, and for Brandon to have gone through this, you know, it's a traumatic experience because your life is now on the line and you don't know what next year will look like or next month or tomorrow, you know. So but that's like that every day for us, you know, because
Yeah.
nobody can boast about tomorrow. You know,
Right.
nobody, like we talked yesterday and we were like, man, all right, the podcast, but I could have died last night.
Yeah. Facts.
You know, I could have gotten in a car accident or something, you know, but it's, you know, being purposeful with the time that we have is what I really got out of that too from you, is that we have to be purposeful with our time. So I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
now that we've had that discussion right there, what would you want to tell your son and daughter, you know, 20 years from now, like if they could click on YouTube or Space Tube, whatever they're watching in 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 years from now, what message as a person chasing purpose, what message do you want to leave to your children that they could listen to every day for the rest of their life?
For me, I think I would want them to know. I would tell them like to know God, trust God, and live full.
I like that.
Live full. Yeah.
I like that. And look, that's powerful right there. No, you ain't got to worry about filling it up, baby. You ain't got to worry about filling
Yeah.
it up. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. Man, we 7:32, boy. We in this.
Look,
Hey,
we
look,
in
this is
here
what I'm
good
talking
now.
about. We got the time in. But if there's any questions, please ask questions. I know there were a lot of comments being said, but I didn't want to break my attention. So, and while I do this, I wanted to do something really quick. So while I got you here, I'm gonna do this. Hold on one second. And so tell them while I'm doing this, tell them about social distance.
Yeah, man, like I'm one of those kind of guys. Like I feel like I got to be a part of what's being said, you know. And a lot of guys pull on me, tug on me, like, "Yo, what you got to say about this?" And so when it came to social distance, man, like I wanted to be able to share the dialogue and experience that was going on, because everybody was experiencing, especially when COVID first started coming in, and people didn't know how to respond. At first, it was overseas, and we're like, "Oh wow, that's major and it's spreading. Oh wow, it's big," but it didn't hit home, right?
Right.
When it hit home, when it started hitting home, and it became a real thing for us. There were a lot of emotions. You know, the world started shutting down for us. You know. Really, like our cities are, you know, and all that stuff started shutting down. It was, I think it's been some of the, I think, you know, scariest like moments of the decade. And
Fact.
you know, for a lot of people, and you know, just trying to figure out how I feel emotionally about it while viewing and seeing and hearing the news, seeing the news, and military, and knowing all the things I know, and martial laws and all kinds of stuff that float through my head. About what's happening, and you know, is it conspiracy? Is it not? You know, where it started from? Oh, he lied here. Oh, that happened there. Just taking into consideration all of those different aspects while trying to consider my position in my home, and you know, in my faith, and with what I know. You know, G.I. Joe says knowing is half the battle. You know, so it's like, what do I do? What do I do with what I know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so just trying to internalize and process how I was feeling. Social distance came out, you know, and just trying to cope with the idea of what was happening around me. Now we got to stay away from people. Man, like I couldn't wait to wear a mask. I was looking at, you know, Asian cultures and stuff like that. They've been masked up forever.
Like, they wear masks all the time.
You know, and you know me, I'm low key. You know, a lot of people don't know. Like, I love people and all that to my limits, right? But I love to be low key. Like where I'm from, I was never like trying to be in the front. Like I'm in the back, somewhere in the shadows, you know. And so, and you know, we don't talk loud. We don't talk a lot. So that's kind of how I grew up. So for me, it was like I love to be incognito, please, especially now, you know, being in the light, sort of, you know what I'm saying, like with my family and all that kind of stuff. Like people recognize you and all that, and that's beautiful to whatever extent. But at some point, the me that I am, I want to be low key. I want to be ducked off. I want to be to myself. So that was a part of that. So social distance was just my expression of my perception and the thoughts and everything that, and the feelings that went into being in quarantine. Like whoever heard of that? Like whoever heard of that for the, you know what I'm saying?
In the movies.
This is a movie. Like you talk about a virus that could kill people, you know, like in days and weeks, and bodies, some bodies in the back of trucks and freezers, and lines. You know, who heard of that? It was chaos. It was pandemonium. So I definitely wanted to create a song that spoke to that illustration, especially like me here in Dallas and seeing what I saw and experiencing what I experienced. And so, you know, everybody was uncertain. That's where social distance came from. Yeah, for sure.
So y'all make sure y'all go check that out right now. It's available on all platforms, you know, and I wanted to drop this real quick, you know, just to kind of show people, you know, so y'all have to go use YouTube and all this other stuff. But I wanted to show y'all before we leave, just a quick little intro type joint to my cuz right here, man. Look at this. This just going on.
Oh wow.
I think I seen a body in the city street. I seen a body in the lobby where the city meet, where the chain gang, where the chain hang, slave to the game. Seen about 100 legs, 100 feet, just like a centipede. All these fantasize spitting cheese, trying to come up on the summer, trying to get a lead. With the fast toys making noise when it's in the breeze. Bok choy with the soy boy, she me. So vain, no, we so vain. But if I gotta die, then let me die, legend, not a no name. And pray, oh, say shalom. Pray a blessing with a reverend in the gold chain. I'm motivated, so I motivate. You talk about it, just a motor mouth. You hold the cloud, I guess you holding out. Never down to what I say is what I'm with, it's what you know about. Trans, dollars and bands, the life we don't live till we got the advance. Money is money, but can't buy a sand. Bodies on bodies, we die in the wind. I seen the gold on the go today. See who built up an altar, who showed the faith, who made it a motor throw on a chain. Cause 100K will make him go insane. I took a trip today. I took a trip where they wanna whip to the stiffest place. I seen the body. I seen the body. I seen the body. I seen the body. I seen the body.
So yeah, I had to let that spin real quick. So
oh my gosh, man.
I just wanted people to see that. Y'all could go check that out. That was corporate. So y'all could go check that out right now on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. And go support Skii Ventura because he is a phenomenal artist with a great story, great testimony. And I hope you got a book out yet?
Man, no. Why, man? You like the third person, man.
Man, you got the wrong one, bro. I'm a purposeful guy. I'm over here. Hey, look, you need to. That's so everybody. He has a project.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody knows the book is coming. No. But
tell Cora, man, get your husband on game. Get your husband on game.
She asked me too, man. Like, it's been a couple people ask me about a book, man. So yeah, I might have to get on that.
Yeah, you gotta get on that, man. And I mean, like, you got the perfect story. You're here. You know what I mean? You're alive. That's the perfect story. Like, no matter what you've been through, like everything we've gone through over the last 30 years or whatever, like it's been a perfect story because we came out of it. We are here right now today. I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but today we came out of it. So people out there who's living with the purpose, maybe you're struggling for finding your purpose. You know, I hope that you took something from his life today that will add value to your life. And I know he did because he dropped some gems today. And I mean, I went over like almost an hour over because I'm so just fascinated with the story, you know, and it's genuine, you know, and I wanted to touch every aspect of your life. And I hope I got through that today. And we could always do a second take, you know, on and get more in depth and go in. So, but yeah, do you have any like shout outs, any last things you want to say before we get up out of here?
Oh, yeah, man. To my family, all my loved ones, man, everybody who supports, everybody who hasn't supported yet. I thank God for each and every one of y'all, man. And I pray that, you know, that everything that you're going through works out for you in your favor. Because I know that our tests and trials, they come that we may build endurance. So I pray that you endure. All right. And that you may be complete and lacking nothing. Okay. So most definitely my family, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my mama, my dad, my stepdad, my wife, my kids, all of y'all, man. I love y'all. And definitely everybody who's been a part of this tree, you know what I'm saying? I really honor y'all. Yeah.
And I'm glad you came on, cuz I'm glad we did this. Like, this is one for the record.
No,
like,
this is amazing, man. Like, you need to invite me more. You've been doing. No, you need to invite me more, man. Come on, man.
Hey, look, man, I got you on. I told you. I hit him up in the DM. I was like, look, I'm trying to get you on the purpose pod. He was like, bet.
Easy.
You know, so we here, you know, and I'm glad we were supposed to do it episode 60. And I'm glad we got to do it today. So just cool. Once again, thank you so much. And if you want to hang out in the back, just hang out in the back and I'll chit chat with you after we get off so that I can just tell you thanks and stuff. But y'all make sure y'all go follow Skii Ventura, and he could be found on Instagram. You see it right here, Skii Ventura. And you know, I was when I first saw your name, I was like, man, did he say Skii? Is it Skii? That's why I was like, did he say Skii? Is it Skii Ventura?
Man,
and I saw you got Skii next to it, but it could have been a joke. You could have tried to joke
so many times, man. But definitely, man. And that's another story how the name came up, man.
That's what I wanted. Let me ask you that real quick. Like, so cool. how did you get that name? How did the name come about?
Long story short, I don't know if this is gonna be short. I'm long-winded. Okay, I'm from Brown.
Hey, the pastor say we closing soon. We closing.
Okay, no, but no. I actually, when I moved here, like I said, I started getting names in Savannah and stuff like that. I never had a name for myself, and so I wanted to come up with a name for myself. I wanted something unique. When I came here to Dallas, I met two dudes that was like so like crazy with this rap stuff. It was Charlie Rocks and Eddie Van. Shout out if they listening, if they seeing this. But they were brothers. And when I tell you, I never heard anybody rap like them. And I was like, and you know, everybody gassing me, but I'm listening to these guys like. But anyhow, I was listening to their names. Like, man, that's dope. Everybody Little this or Young Nat. I'm like, man, I don't want to be none of that, man. I want something that's gonna stand out. That's gonna be different. So, you know, I really sat with it for a while. And one day, like out of clear as air, like it was not like something I had to spend a whole lot of time on. It was like Skii Ventura. Wow. And I was like, Skii Ventura, yo, that sounds dope. Yo, right. And like that's one day, I, you know, and this is my spiritual stuff. But one day I sat and I was like, why Skii Ventura? Yeah. And what I heard was, that's your prophet name. So it was my name change. Right. You know what I'm saying? Wow. From Jacob to Israel. So it was my name change. So I was like, okay, cool. And what I got from it was like, you know, growing up, like I said, my mom used to always call me the dreamer, like my head in the clouds. And so it's like venturing the beyond, you know. So that's kind of what I got from it. Yeah.
I like that. I need to get a name.
You do. I'm gonna hook you up with a name.
Hey, hook me up with a name.
You should take a poll. You need to ask the audience what your name should be.
What should be my name, y'all? Y'all find out what my name is. Let me know, y'all. I'm gonna just be Alan Simmons for now, but find out my name. I used to be Atomic back in the day. Your boy Atomic, and I'm ready to spit every ball that I spit because I
got something for you. When we get off of here, I got my old notebook. I still got my notebook, G.
Really?
I got my notebook. It's a picture of us and all that in there, G.
Oh wow!
When I saw it, I was like, "This history, yo." I'm gonna put this in like glass case in the front room somewhere.
Yeah, it's the S.W.A.T. Man, right. See, come on, man. We the service with the testimony. Man. Come on, son. Like,
you pulling out the stuff on them, man. Come on, man.
Man, yeah, man. Like, but yeah, those man, it's so crazy. I could be on all day, but like, it's just when I'm like right now, just talking to you, looking at you, and thinking about like back right there in front of the altar, in front of the in front of the choir stage and everything. Like we were right there, you know, and me and Dontrell and Jordan, we'd be like pop lock, everybody be pop locking, trying to, you know, we thought we was
on. We didn't
know what we was going to do. We was on something.
We was on. We had no choreography or nothing. We was just all doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool.
It was crazy. So and just to be able to write songs at a young age. But anyway, so like we'll keep going on with that. But yeah, so I'm so thankful for you. And like I said, you guys make sure y'all follow Skii Ventura right here on Instagram. Thank you so much. No problem, brother. I appreciate you, dog. So I'll get back with you in a second, okay?
All right, for sure.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skii Ventura, aka Brandon Coleman, man. I hope that you guys enjoyed this interview because I did. I'm definitely going back and I'm taking my paper and my pen. I was trying, like, if y'all can see, y'all don't need to worry about that, but I was trying to write with my eyes up and stuff. But yes, so he has an amazing testimony. He has amazing music, and you definitely check it out right here. You see it going across the screen. Social Distance is his newest one. So like, you guys make sure y'all go on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to music, and follow Skii Ventura, please. And go on Instagram and follow him as well. And just support. Buy his wife's book, support. You know, we want to lift up and encourage one another on our journey to our purpose. So I hope that you are inspired today. Thank you for watching The Purpose Pod. Peace.